keep your head still and swipe across the back of it. The one that an absolute lifetime of golf coaches, a lifetime of some of the best coaches in the world have advocated. Would you prefer a golf swing where you load too much to the left, and you hit that shot? Today I want to talk to you about backswings. I want to show you how swaying and rotating in both amounts can be positive for your golf swing. Let's get into it. With the aid of Sportbox, today I'm going to show you definitively what swaying and rotating can both do and impede your golf swing. Backswings, we've always thought about, I need to rotate. I need to rotate into my right side. Well, rotation is absolutely needed in a backswing. Let me just make my first swing here, and with the aid of Sportbox, I'm going to really show you some of the ingredients that go on. I'm going to just make my move, and if you've watched enough of my content, you will know how much I place the importance on my leg action. And the leg action is really the rotator of the lower half. Now, the rotator of the lower half really gives you the freedom to start to move your upper half. If we've locked our lower half in and don't move it, it really becomes very difficult to get as much backswing as you'd like to with your upper half. So in a backswing, we need to understand that we have a couple of measurements that Sportsbox gives us, and it's called sway. It gives us the ability to measure where we started and where we finish at any point in the golf swing. So in my swing, you can see on the screen there that in my backswing, my pelvis has not moved to the side, either towards the target or away from the target of any value. 0.0, lucky me. I got seriously centered with my lower half. But you can see my top half has moved off the ball, minus 1.7. And that negative value means anything to the right of the golf ball, away from the target, is a negative value, and a positive value is towards the target. And so understanding that when we move the golf club away, a feeling that I like to have and a feeling that I like to promote with my clients is that when the golf club is moving to the right of the golf ball, we do feel like we can have our upper body moving with the golf club. But what we don't want, or what I don't want, is that lower half feeling like it moves that way too. So the feeling is that that right foot is resisting that upper body as I feel like I move my golf club off the golf ball. Because our spine, when we stand to the golf ball, and I'm going to use this analogy with two golf clubs, there's the spine, should I say, there's the pelvis and there's the spine. When I'm standing upright and I rotate, we're able to see that the head stays on top of the base of the spine. When I tip myself forwards in my posture and then I rotate my pelvis, can you see how the head must move away to the right? Now, of course, we've got vertebrae that bends and molds itself in various different directions. But for me, I always like to see the head moving away from the golf ball, away from the target in a backswing. What this gives is a good sense of momentum with the upper body and the handle. But in doing that, I'm allowing my right foot to feel like it resists that momentum I'm taking with the handle. Now, the beauty with Sportsbox is that it gives us a value that we can measure. And when you're playing your good golf, it allows you to blueprint what you can do or what you're doing well when you're playing good golf. So as I make a backswing here, I move my upper body away. I use my right foot to push off, which allows me to feel like I'm centered. A little bit to the right, that one. That should make the edit. So we'll go push away, off to the right, and move the right hip back. So that's how I'm really trying to orchestrate my upper body and my lower body. What I now want to show you is how the lower body moving to the right really affects how the upper body moves and what it does to the golf shots. One of the most horrific moves you can see as a golf coach is when you get the golfer moving into the right side with the lower half. And really over the years, we've really seen golfers talk about, I really want to load into my right leg. Then what you do is you get a layering on top of that of a golfer trying to keep his head over the golf ball. You get short in hip turn, short in shoulder turn, and before you know it, you're in a nasty place. So with the aid of Sportbox, I'm now going to make that golf swing where we transition weight into the right side, then we try to make some rotation, and just watch the shape of my body when I do that. And as soon as I bump across, we can see at the top of my backswing how my spine now tips towards the target. Look what's happened to the data points of the club path and the angle of attack. Because when I move that lower half to the right and then I back my spine up, all of a sudden my arm plane gets more lifted and the club starts to work across the golf ball. So there's some pretty hefty negative values there of me moving my pelvis to the right, certainly not 0.0 anymore, and you can see how my upper half again has swayed off to the right. This is old school methodology of shifting to the right and not allowing, as far as I'm concerned, the leg length, the ability to open the lower half up, which then doesn't allow the top half to open itself up. So I'm just going to show you another one of those so we really get that opposite to the way I like to feel the golf club move away. I feel my right leg push away and my upper half move across, as opposed to the old school of thinking keeping the head down and shifting to the right leg is I get a push off with my left leg, I bump across to the right, and then it sucks my top half with it, and then I swipe across the back of the golf ball. And again, these are movements in a backswing that have originated from the feet, corrupted the level of the pelvis, and then as I go back, I've then tipped my spine back in the opposite direction. So when I now get my two clubs back out, the forward bend of the spine, I rotate my pelvis, look where my spine goes. What's happened with that motion is that I bumped my hip across, I've rotated, and now you can see the orientation that my body is in. So it's very clear that the lower half, the foot pressure, running through the feet, how it started to corrupt the pelvis. But if we really think that it's only corrupting the pelvis, we're being very short-sighted. It will change the way the right shoulder works, it will change the way the right arm works, and it will change the pitch and plane of both arm swing and club shaft. It is multi-layered, that kind of motion. And so how you get out of that is complex, but it has to start with the feet. And so when you start to see this shape and these differences in this golf swing, by the way we use our feet and the ramifications it has with our upper body and our arm plane, it's considerable. So now what I want you to do, or what I want to do, is show you a lower half that's centered and now a top half that really has too much sway to the right. So I'm still going to keep my lower half centered as much as I can, and now I'm just going to really accentuate my upper body off to the right. Remember, I'm keeping the same grip with all of these swings. And so can you see that last motion where I've shifted off to the right, big lateral sway with lower half and upper half, you see how it's made my path excessively outside in, really steep, and those two moves have really changed that face to path. So the grip is absolutely paramount, but it's not everything. But please, 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 I can't encourage you enough to get yourself up to check my grip series out, because that will really help you. Now, as I say, we're going to keep the lower half centered, and now I'm going to really move my upper half excessively off the golf ball. Still using my feet in my normal way, but I'm really going to go with the handle this time. And so by really shifting the top half across, look what suddenly happened to my club path. All of a sudden it's whipped itself more from the inside. I was able to manage to keep my lower half centered. I've now almost doubled my sway with my chest at 3.7. So I've really moved it off the ball. But what I've also done, because I've got such an excessive sway with my top half, when we compare it to my original swing, I've lost almost 10 degrees of shoulder rotation because of my lateral shift. So lateral shifts will always take out hip and shoulder rotation by virtue, by their very nature of being sway, being lateral. And so understanding that if we are lateral, we are more than likely going to make our swing too long. It will elongate the circle. It won't make the circle circular, round us. So that lateral shift with my upper body, even though I kept my lower body centered, that lateral shift took away shoulder rotation, but it did give us a little bit more inside path. Again, important to understand this. There is no fix here. This is just an appreciation for what different variants in a golf swing will facilitate. And so now, my final swing I want to show you is where we start to create too much shift, the reverse pivot. The reverse pivot that everybody frowns upon. The one that, oh goodness me, you stack and tilt. I'm not an advocate of any stack and tilt or anything left-sided, but I want to show you, if you were to do that with a good grip, let's have a little look at what the outcome might be. So in both cases, top half and lower half, I'm going to move it towards the golf ball. So as I make the golf club swing back, I'm going to move everything to the left as much as I dare and see how we get on. And so I've moved myself at the top of the backswing, as you can see on Sportbox, close to 3 inches to the left of the golf ball with both upper body and lower body. Because of the stress that puts on my body, you can see equally I've lost a little bit of shoulder turn. But look what happens. Look what happens to the club path. Look what happens to the angle of attack. And look what happens to the face to path with a good grip. Can you see, which one would you rather have? Would you rather have the load to the right, keep your head still, and swipe across the back of it? The one that an absolute lifetime of golf coaches, a lifetime of some of the best coaches in the world have advocated? Would you prefer that one? Or, bearing in mind with the good grip, or would you prefer a golf swing where you load too much to the left, and you hit that shot? So you can see, if you're not using your feet properly, you are not going to encourage your body to move appropriately and get yourself around the golf ball. The only problem with that moving too far left in our backswing, it's the ability and the strength to unravel that on the way down. And if you want to learn how to unravel on the way down, go check out my left shoulder video, because that's a biggie. But understanding how we use these sway values with Sportbox is crucial. This is not a paid promotion. This is software and technology that is going to take everybody's golf swing into the 21st century, 22nd century. Because understanding truthfully how we need to move is crucial, in conjunction with some good fundamentals, will make everybody play the game like beyond their wildest dreams. So hopefully there's been enough goodness in there to give you something to think about, that this weekend you might be able to get yourself down the range and have a little bit of practice and work on that leg action. Do go check out my leg action playlists because there's loads of great content in there that's going to help you out. Thanks so much for watching. Do consider subscribing and maybe tell your friends about me. Thanks so much for watching. And that, my friends, is good coaching.